Welcome. Yes, I am live. I believe that this is working, which is exciting. Listen, I appreciate everybody who is joining me live right now. Wherever you're watching. First of all, if you are having an awesome kickoff to 2021, hit me up. Chat me. Just say yes in the comments, wherever you are. Are you having a great 2021? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Is that Jose? What's up? How are you? You having a kick-ass start to 2021? I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. This is how it's supposed to be. Listen, 2021 can be your year. 2021 can be an entirely new level for you and for your business. So listen, we're here today. I'm here to talk today about how to control your sales process so you can close more deals. Who would like to do that? If you would like to control your sales process in order to close more deals, say yes. Type in the comments, yes, I can see your comments. So who wants to close more deals? Who wants to close less deals in 2021? Who wants to do less business in 2021, right? Anybody? No? Nobody? That'd be crazy. That would be ridiculous. Yes, Steve. Steve wants to close more deals. Who else wants to close more deals? Jay Ray, yes. Love that. Fantastic. Fantastic. This is what it's all about. Well, listen, we're going to go through that today. Let me just pull up there we go. It's working. All right, cool. So listen, for those of you that don't know me, or this gets shared out or something like that later, I'm Brian Cristiano, founder, CEO of Bold Worldwide. Grew and scaled that company. Been to hell and back. Started my first production company 20 years ago. Started out making skate videos. Scaled that. Got out of that. Started in the marketing business. Scaled that to 8 figures. Have had my fair share of ups and downs and challenges. I've seen it all. I've been through it all. I've helped customers and clients get through it all. I've worked with startups to Fortune 500s to CEOs of multi-billion-dollar brands to some of the biggest name celebrities in the entire world. And listen, I can tell you that there is one common thing that I see from the companies and the people that close deals faster, more consistently, that command a higher rate. They control the process. They control the sale. And what do I mean by that? Let's go through this a little bit, right? Like, if you don't control the sales prospect, if you don't control the sales process, your prospect is going to control you. Right? Like, I used to send out proposals after doing my due diligence, right? Like, I would do discovery. I'm sure, how many of you, say yes in the comments, if you do discovery in some way, shape, or form, right? You're on a call with a customer or a client, you're asking them some questions, you're trying to understand their business, you want to understand it as much as you possibly can, right? Because you got to put a proposal together, and you need to understand their business in order to do so, right? So you do your due diligence. You do some discovery, you bake it in, you think you're being smart, and you're like hitting it off with this customer, this client. You're totally hitting it off. You're like, this is awesome. Like, this is it. Like, we get you. They get you. They like you. They like everything that you're saying. They like everything that you're talking about. You're like, I solve every problem. You see their issues. And so you take all that information back. You go back to the office or wherever you came from, and you start to put together a proposal that solves exactly their biggest pain points. They're excited. You're excited. Like, this is going somewhere. And then you put this proposal together. You take the steps to ensure that you're going to present the proposal in person, or at least these days virtually. You're like, I'm controlling this thing, man. And then you're like, this is closed. This is a done deal. And then you follow up with the customer, and you're like, or the client, and you go, all right, awesome. We're meeting on this day. We're going to walk through the proposal. And they ghost you. Right? They disappear. All of a sudden, they just stop answering their emails. Or now all of a sudden, they're busy. They're so busy. This was like the priority for them. But they were so busy. What's going on here? Hang on. I think my YouTube's messed up. Where are you all watching from, by the way? Are you all on Facebook? Trying to understand. This should be going out to YouTube too, and I don't think it actually is. Hang tight. Hang tight. We might be having a few technical issues. I might stop this and restart it. For those of you that joined, I might stop and restart because I think this is only going out to Facebook. So give me 3 minutes. My tech team, Facebook, yeah, you're all on Facebook. Okay, so it's an issue. My tech team was just letting me know that we're having an issue here. So they're going to restart this feed. Facebook, yeah. All right, so everybody that's on Facebook, because I think that's the only spot that you can see this right now. This should be a cross-platform. You're seeing this on LinkedIn. Oh, you are seeing it on LinkedIn. Facebook, LinkedIn. This is really interesting. Is anyone seeing it on YouTube? Fascinating. All right. Well, oh, see, it's going to the wrong link, I'm being told. That's really weird. Whatever. All right. So you know what? Scratch it. We're just going to keep moving forward. Weird tech stuff happens. It's all good. How many of you experienced some weird tech stuff that slows you down these days, right? Well, anyway, so let's get back into it, right? So listen, like, you understand the client, you know all their needs, you put together all this information, and you're like, this thing's closed. And then all of a sudden they ghost you. They disappear. Where the hell did they go? Their calendar all of a sudden is filled up, right? They change the date of your next meeting on you. They're coming up with reasons, really an excuse of why the project now needs to be delayed. Why they now need to talk to 74 different decision makers that you never heard of prior to this moment in time. And listen, here's the thing. How many of you just say yes, type yes, if you've ever experienced this type of an issue before? Your discovery was awesome. You hit it off with the client, the prospect. You knew you had this in the bag. And then they ghost you. How many just type yes in the comments if you've ever experienced anything like this before? Because I speak with hundreds of entrepreneurs at every level of sales. Enterprise, like global Fortune 500s, total startup, Silicon Valley, crazy stuff. Little entrepreneurs, smaller businesses, and they all end up experiencing I'm on YouTube as well. All right, great. Thanks for checking that. Appreciate it. Who knows? Who knows? We're in the day of you can see me, but I can't see you. I can't wait to get back to doing this stuff in person, by the way. You've experienced, yeah. Jacob's experienced it, yeah. Listen, this happens at all levels. It doesn't matter if you're selling more transactional type of products or services. It doesn't matter if you're selling $1 million solutions to enterprise clients. This happens all the time. I see it everywhere. Right? Like, and the thing is when this used to happen to me, I never truly understood why it would happen, because it happens to everybody, right? Like, everybody that sells to prospects, that has a sales cycle, it's not just, you're not on shelves, you're not direct to customer and you're on shelves at Walmart. You are selling to B2B, you're selling to another person. It requires a proposal, right? Like, this happens to everyone. And because it happens to everybody, people say, oh, sales is just a numbers game. Right? It's just a numbers game. You need more prospects. Well, don't get me wrong. Absolutely, sales is a numbers game to an extent. To an extent, it's not just a numbers game. It's not just a numbers game. The truth is, it's not totally a numbers game. Think about this. Like, if you go to a restaurant and the waiter tells you the menu, right? You sit down, waiter tells you about the menu. You ask questions. This person's great. They give you recommendations on the wine list. They give you recommendations. You're asking some questions about, oh, that surf and turf looks really good. You know, you're creating rapport. You're getting in there. The waiter is understanding what you really like, what you want. They're giving you some recommendations. You're getting excited. You're getting hungry. You're getting thirsty. And then the waiter says, I'll be back in a little while to take your order. What happens? What happens? Think about this. What happens? Well, you were excited about the surf and turf. Right? You were pumped. You're like, that looks really good. I saw it getting passed over to that other table. But now you're having second thoughts. It looked good. It looked tasty. But is it worth the $70? Is it $70 tasty? You were going to get a bottle of wine for the table. They were talking to you about the red wine that's really good, that goes with the surf and turf. You were excited about it. But now you're talking to the other cohort of the table, asking them what they're going to order. Oh, well, you're going to order fish. You're getting chicken. I might get the surf and turf. I'm not sure anymore. You know what? I'll just order a glass. Why get a bottle for the whole table? And the longer that the time goes between that initial awesome interaction, that time when you sat down and you're in rapport with the waiter. They like you, you like them. They're giving you some information. They're educating you about the menu. They're educating you about what's great. They're understanding your taste and they're giving you recommendations. The longer that the time goes on between that moment, that interaction, and the actual transaction of the sale, the more you start to reconsider everything. Listen, think about it. If you're in a restaurant, you could have an amazing first touch point and you sit there long enough waiting for them to come back and take your order, you'll leave the damn restaurant. You're not even going to wait around to order if there's enough time between those two transactions. And listen, it's no different when it comes to proposals. I know I'm using restaurant terms here. I'm talking about food and I'm kind of getting hungry, but it's no different than proposals. You give them too much space and too much time to reconsider and rethink. You give them too much time to discuss it with their cohort. You're in that meeting or you're on that call. They're excited. They're ready to rock and roll. They're ready to move forward. They're liking what you're talking about. They understand that you understand their business. They're like, wow, oh my God, you totally get us. This is amazing. We like what you're proposing here. We like your ideas about this. We like your track record. You're totally in rapport. They love you. It's awesome. You're talking about the big problem you're going to solve. They even have the budget. And then you leave. And you say, great, I'll be back in a little while to take your order. I'll be back in a little while with your proposal. And think about this, right? Because this is what I find that most business owners, entrepreneurs, salespeople think happens. They leave this meeting or this call, and what's the only thing on their mind? That opportunity. They're going, they're thinking about it. They're telling they're coming back. They're telling their boss or they're telling their business partner. They're coming home at dinner and they're talking about, oh my God, we have this huge opportunity. We're putting the proposal together. It's amazing. They're super excited. We're going to turn this proposal around in 2 days. They're going to be so excited. They said they didn't even need it till next week. We'll have it to them before the end of the week. And they're only thinking about the person selling, you putting the proposal together. You're only thinking about that proposal. That is on your mind 24/7 until you get it in front of them. But here's the thing, you're looking at it from your perspective. Look at it from your prospect's perspective. They're in a meeting. You got them excited. They like the filet. They like the surf and turf that you showed them, that you were talking about. They were excited. They liked you. And they decided, they're like, wow, this is really great. I think we need to move forward with this. This is amazing. I think I like this company. I think I like this person. This is awesome. From their perspective now, you leave. What happens next? They're thinking about it. And then all of a sudden, something else comes on their desk. All of a sudden, more paperwork, another call. Oh, there's a fire over there. Oh my God, I got to deal with this HR thing. Oh my God, my business partner came in. They might talk about this for about 10 or 15 minutes after you leave that meeting. And that's it. Reality strikes. Reality comes back in. They got to remember to tell their assistant to put something on the calendar so they can talk with the other business partners or the board about it 3 days from now, because you're going to get a proposal in 5 days. And now they're dealing with all the rest of their life, their business, the chaos, all the other stuff that's on their plate now just took priority order above what you were just talking to them about. Everything else is priority. Everything else is priority within 15 minutes. And then they forgot to put on the calendar or mention to their assistant that they need to talk to the board about it. And so then it's Thursday and they forgot, oh, I got to bring it up. So they only have 5 minutes to talk about it. Do you think that they're going to pitch what you pitched and propose the way that you pitched and proposed it in this controlled meeting and environment in 5 minutes and they just remembered they had to bring it up? No. So then you call them, hey, I got the proposal ready. What are they thinking? They're not trying to mess you up. They're not trying to do wrong by you 95% of the time. But they're like, oh, I can't answer this right now. I need to get in front of the board. I need to get that other thing. I don't even have time now. I got to get. you know what, we got to talk to somebody else about this thing. The board was talking to me and they said that their cousin's uncle's brother's son did this in college once. He wants to run that by them first before we even have the further discussion. So internally, your prospect, who you thought is like so pumped and so hot, is in 700 other directions. And so you're experiencing them ghosting you. You're experiencing them backpedaling. You're experiencing them, from your perspective, be rude, ghost you, not move forward with the promises, the timeline that they said. Or you do get them on the phone, or you do get them in the next meeting. You're like, yeah, you know, it's really good, but we were thinking about it and blah. How many times have you heard similar things? How many times has this happened in your process? If you've been in business any way, shape, or form, I can tell you, I know for certain it happens a lot. It happens all the time. It's because you're thinking about it from your perspective and not the prospect's perspective. Think about this. Do you know the reason that there's gift shops at Disney World after you walk out of the ride? Right at the end of the ride. Not just at the end of the park, not just when you go to leave the place, not just at certain areas, right as you get out of the gift shop. I mean, right as you get off of the ride. Why? Why do they do that? Because you're on the ride. You're feeling the high. You're super excited. You're having the time of your life. And you walk out. Your adrenaline's rushing. You're like thinking, all you're doing is thinking about that ride that you were just on. And now they go, great. Do you want the picture of being on the ride? Awesome. Do you want the stuffed animal? And you're like, yes, I need it all. But if you remove those two things, that experience, and you extended it, and you got off the ride and it was awesome. And then you did 6 other rides. And then you get to the end of the park at the end of the day. And then they walked you through the gift shop and said, oh, remember that ride you did 4 or 5 hours ago? Do you want the picture from it? Do you want the stuff? And you're like, yeah, do I really need it? Why? Too much time has passed between the experience that you got and the opportunity to do a transaction. And it's the same thing that's happening with your proposals. They want a second opinion. They need to think about it. They're too busy. They got all these other stuff. There's another fire that's now more priority than the thing that you were discussing. So they buy themselves more time. They look at all the options. They get distracted by other shiny objects, and poof, they walk out of your damn restaurant. They don't do business and they don't commit to your proposal. You follow up with them for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, month, 2 months, 3 months. Not because the proposal wasn't awesome. Not because it didn't solve their problems. Because you left the control up to them and their lizard brains took control. Their lizard brain hates complex decision. Their lizard brain is like, no, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. I got to focus on this thing right here that's a problem right now. And then they forget about you, or it's not a big enough priority, or they now have time to get other bids. They have time to think about it, talk to their third cousin. If this makes sense, type yes in the comments. If this resonates with you, type yes in the comments. So here's the thing. What do you do instead? How do you change your process? What do you do instead? And by the way, if this is helpful, share it out. I want to get some other people to see this who are in sales, who are in business, that this would be valuable for them. So please, if you find the value in this, share out this broadcast. So what do you do instead? You have to push the prospect. Michael, thank you. Glad this is helpful. You have to push the prospect. But how? Because here's the thing I hear all the time. Well, I don't want to sell. I don't want to be too pushy. I don't want to hard close anybody. My clients are sophisticated. It's an enterprise deal. Right, I know that. I know that. Don't get it mixed up. I'm not telling you to do any of those things. That stuff doesn't work. Those like BS hard closes, those like one-liners, it sounds slick when you're listening to the sales course. You know, that sounds cool. And maybe it works like once in a while, but that's not actual sales. That's just BS. And sometimes you get lucky. You must instead have an offer ready to go right there in that initial conversation. In that initial first or second touch point, right? Depending on how it is, it might not be the first touch point, it might be the second touch point. But when you get to that point, right, where the client's like, wow, this is really great. We want you to work, we want you to put a proposal together. and then you move away from that to go and make it before you then give them a proposal, that's your mistake. In that moment, you need to have a deal on the table. Oh, you like how that surf and turf looks over there? Trust me, it's awesome. Why don't we drop an appetizer side version on your table while you decide about the whole meal? Why aren't you doing that in your business with your proposals? Why aren't you awesome? We definitely are going to go back and work on this entire proposal, but why don't we get kicked off with this now, today? Where's that in your business? Why don't you have that? And you know what? While we're at it, what about the wine you were looking at? It's awesome with that appetizer. Why don't we get that for the whole table? You can really enjoy. I'll get this app drop. I'll get you that wine, and I'll be back and we'll talk about the bigger meal. What do you think will happen if you approach your customers and your prospects in that way? I'm not telling you to try to close the entire deal and have everything figured out and templated up front. That's not realistic, especially more complex sales. That's not realistic. But why don't you have a simple offer that is a stepping stone into the larger deal that you are trying to propose? A piece of your process that you can sell right then and there in that first or second meeting. What do you think happens when you have that as an opportunity? Guess what? They decide it's not too big of an ask. Just like an appetizer of wine. If that waiter asks that in that instance, while they're excited and they're salivating over seeing that surf and turf walk down there, they're thinking about that red wine that's going to go really well with it, and they say, hey, you know what? You don't have to make the commitment right this second to figure out everything in dinner. You just sat down. But why don't we get this app of that, the smaller version of that, dropped off at this table? It's going to be awesome. Why don't we get you the wine? It goes really good with it. Then you can, if you don't like the app, if you don't love it, well, then you have the opportunity to pivot. You have the opportunity to make a change. If you love it, awesome. Now you know what you're getting. Sale right there. It's not too big of an ask. It's just an appetizer. It's just some wine. Where's your appetizer? Where's your appetizer? You have to give it to them. You have to stop waiting for the process. You got to stop waiting for the answers from your prospects. You got to stop waiting for the next step in the sales cycle. But the thing is you have to craft an initial offer that's irresistible. It can't be crap. This can't be some generic thing that, oh, hey, yeah, like we want to sell you this $1 million year-long contract. And in the meantime, we're going to sell you this other thing that's unrelated and terrible. Like, it can't be like that. This has to be a logical stepping stone into the larger opportunity that you are going to be presenting to them. Does this make sense? Is this helpful in any way, shape, or form? Just type yes in the comments if it is. You have to have an irresistible offer. You have to have a hook that makes sense in that moment, in that first or second meeting. So the client has something to say yes to. So the prospect can say, wow, you know what? That makes sense. So the prospect can go, huh, you know what? That's really great. You know, somebody used to say this to me, or so I learned this from somewhere. I don't remember exactly where I got it. Haley, I'm glad this is helpful. Jay, Ray, Sam, glad this is helpful. Awesome. Like, think about this. This is so silly, but think about this. Somebody said to me once, said, listen, if I show up at your front door tomorrow with 4 feet of salami and say, hey, buy the salami sale. You're like, no way, man. I don't need 4 feet of salami. That's ridiculous. Like, I'm not going to eat that. I don't need that. Like, this is crazy. It's stupid. I don't need 4 feet of salami. But if I came to your door and sold you a few pieces today, and then I came back a few days later and sold you a few more pieces, by the end of the month, you bought the whole 4 feet of salami. But you're coming to your prospects and going, buy 4 feet of salami. And they're like, whoa, awesome. But I got a lot to consider here. I got a lot to think about. I got a lot to take in, to understand. You know, like, you're trying to go from 0 to 100 like that. That's why it takes 2 months. That's why it takes 3 months. That's why you don't know and you can't really track your entire process. That's why your sales are not predictable. That is why your clients and customers ghost you. That's why you spend hours and hours crafting proposals and then hoping that your prospects will say yes. That's why you're like, oh man, we got to close this one. Happens. That's why you feel that way. because it's not predictable. You don't have an irresistible offer. You don't have a process that allows you to sell in that first or second meeting, regardless of the size of your overarching contracts. This works at enterprise. This works in small startups. It doesn't matter. What your offer is will be specific to your business, but you have to have an offer. You have to take control of the sales process if you want to increase your sales, because most people don't take control. They think they're taking control. They think they're taking control because in that meeting that went really well, we already set our review of the proposal for next Thursdays on the calendar. I took control. You didn't control anything. Because as I said, the minute that you walk out of that meeting, 55 other things are on that executive's desk, that other decision maker's desk. There's another fire. There's another shiny object. There's 7 of your competitors pitching them to and arguing why their solution is better than your solution. And so you had them on the ride. They got off the ride. Their adrenaline's pumping. They're excited. And then you go, awesome, cool. At the end of the day, you can go through the gift shop and it'll show you what stuffed animals in the pictures. They're not going to buy. They are not excited by the time your proposal gets back in front of them. And so then what do you have to do? You got to get the excitement level back up. That's so hard to do. You're wasting all this energy getting them excited about you, getting them excited about the opportunity, getting to know their business, and then let's meet another week. And if they have enough time and they have enough space to decide to not work with you, they have enough time and enough space to decide to reconsider it. They just had 45 other fires that are now a bigger priority than you and your proposal and your opportunity. Your 2 other competitors just came in and showed them something else, and now they're questioning everything that you showed them. That's why sales cycles are long. That's why it takes a long time to close a deal. That's why prospects ghost you. Does this make sense? So listen, next Monday, I kick off, January 25th, I kick off the Deal Flow Accelerator program. We go through the exact steps on how you craft this, how you implement it as a process, how you find the right prospects, the ideal customers and clients for you, and how you get a deal on the table in the first 1 or 2 meetings. It's going to be game-changing for the businesses that are in there. We already have, we're pretty much almost already completely closed out, taking a few more calls between now and Monday, but that's it. But look, we still have a couple extra seats available for anyone who's looking to scale and grow their business, or has a sales team looking to close more sales faster with less resistance from prospects, from your customers. Listen, I'll walk you through a couple of quick details of it right now, just for three or 4 minutes, in case you're thinking about this and it hits you in your gut and you're like, man, yeah, we got a long sales cycle. Man, it's really frustrating. That's exactly what happens to us. We pitch it and then we go away, and then we just can't really predict if it's going to close. We're trying to sell a big solution all at once. I don't have an entry point, and it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to us, but I like the idea of it. If you're thinking, if in your gut, you're like, man, it would be fantastic. It would be fantastic to be able to close deals faster with a shorter sales cycle, where your prospects want what you're putting in front of them right there in the moment because it makes sense and it's easy for them to digest, and they don't give you resistance. If you're looking for that type of process in your business, then I'll walk you through it right now. I'm going to show you a couple of quick things, and I think you can learn from it anyway. How do I share my screen here? Let me share my screen. There we go. Perfect. So, change. There we go. All right, we'll turn this on. Perfect. There we go. There we go. So listen, the Deal Flow Accelerator kicks off January 25th. Let me take my graphics off here. There we go. Kicks off January 25th, which is this upcoming Monday. This cohort, that's when they start. This is a 7-week intensive sales program. It's directed towards 6- and 7-figure businesses looking to get to 7 or 8 figures or beyond. There's even some 8-figure businesses in here with their sales team already looking to optimize their sales process so that they have what we were just talking about, which is a process and a sales system that is predictable, that allows them to scale their sales quickly with a lot less effort. I'm going to be personally teaching this. Let me turn off my little video. Aha, there's my audio. I'm sorry about that. All right, I guess I have to have my video back on. So anyway, let me take it back a second. Appreciate the content. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for watching. So let me take it back a second because I realized that apparently as I took my video off, I lost audio. We're getting used to these systems, man. New stuff. Anyway, so it starts, you could kind of read it, but basically it starts this Monday. I'm gonna spend 2 hours personally walking you through the system and teaching you everything I've known to grow my company, that's grown my clients' businesses, this exact system that I was just talking about. And in 7 weeks, you'll have an end-to-end sales system up and running with qualified leads and opportunities flowing into your business. This isn't like a typical sales training of where you take this for 7 weeks and then you got to put all the pieces of the puzzle together and figure out and implement it. I designed this for very busy business owners and executives and salespeople to allow you to actually implement this on a week-by-week basis. You're implementing what we learn and teach in week 1, you're implementing in your business. Then the same thing in week 2 and so forth. And so it allows you to implement this very, very quickly without distracting you and actually complementing what you're already doing in the business. And so let me walk you through real quickly what we're actually covering each week. So the first week we go through how do you actually reverse engineer your sales discovery process? How do you turn that into that hook, that irresistible offer, right? That appetizer that just makes total sense to your prospect and to your customer, where they'll say yes and give you zero resistance because they're excited, they're coming off the ride and you're like, you want the picture? Yes, of course I do, right? Like how do you create that experience? Whether you're dealing with enterprise, large, big deals, or you're selling marketing services, or you're selling some other, consulting, anything. This works with any business where you have to create a proposal to do a sale. And then the second week is really cool. We actually go through how do you fill up your calendar, like with actual qualified dream clients. How do you find them? How do you get their contact information? What do you actually say? And how do you get them booked on your calendar? So when you are having these meetings or these Zooms, they're with the right people and they're already warmed up for you. How do you do that? With zero ad spend, by the way. And then in the third week, how do you get that deal onto the table in that first call? Like, how do you get that deal onto that table right away? You're not waiting for 3 months. You're not following up them forever. And then in the fourth week, we go through the follow-up. How do you get a solid yes in days, right? You don't need to do follow-up for months. You don't need to chase prospect down for 90 days, 6-month sales cycle, even 3 weeks. You don't need to do that. How do you follow up and get a solid yes in days? Week 5, we talk about how do you handle the most common objections, right? Like what comes up in this process? What are they going to say when they say, oh, let me think about it? What do you say? And none of those like cheesy one-liners that people say work because they really don't. Like none of that. Like what do you actually say? What do you do? How do you avoid that from the get-go? And then week 6, how do you expand that wedge offer? How do you expand that initial little teaser into a larger agreement, into a much larger deal and way beyond? Like, how do you expand this? Right? So you get in with a small opportunity, expand this over time. And in the last week, we talk about how do we automate and delegate this? How do you train this into a smaller sales system? How do you create this into a predictable sales process where you know what's going to come down the pipe in your pike in your pipeline? Where you can train this off to somebody who doesn't need to be the most experienced salesperson. You can now give this and hand this package off to somebody who, if they follow the right steps, will get these results. So I love this quote from Michael Jordan. Some people want to make it happen. Others wish it would happen. Others make it happen. So the only question I have for you, are you the type of person that's going to make it happen? Like if you watched this, you resonated with this and you said, wow, like, I need to learn about this. Great. In the description, there's a link. Go to that. Click on that link right now. If you've heard enough, you can scroll down or wait 60 seconds and there'll be a link where you can apply. There's honestly, I'm not even joking you, like our calendars are almost completely booked up between now and Monday. We're just taking the last calls now for anybody that wants to enter the program. We already have people that have already been into the program, taken a part of our mastermind, which is part of what comes with it, pre-recorded, who've already made massive changes and shifts into their business. So if this sounds like you, if you're like, man, this hit my gut, just click on that link. Worst case scenario, by the way, is a 20-minute video where I go into much, much, much more depth about how this system and how this strategy works. So if you want to learn more, and it doesn't require an email to watch that video, by the way, because I know people love to do that. I don't do that. I don't care. I'm not here for an email address. Like I want to help people grow and scale their businesses. And so if this resonated with you, click the link in the description, go there. If you're like ready to rock and roll, go and apply. And if there's still time on our calendars, we'll get you in, we'll get you to talk to somebody and see if this is a good fit. If not, that's okay too. But now it comes down to, like, are you going to take control of your sales process? Are you going to take control of the elements and the parts of your process of your sale that are going to allow you to scale in greater business? Or you do the same thing, the traditional sales method that everybody else does? It's up to you. I mean, listen, like I would suggest at the very least, it's worth discovering this. It's worth looking at this. This is how the biggest companies, most successful companies in the world operate. This is how McKinsey sells. This is how Deloitte sells. This is not what they teach in business school. This is not what they teach in typical online courses. Like this is the stuff that I teach in person, in live events, but obviously we're doing it virtually because of the state of the world that we're in. And so listen, if this was helpful, I suggest you go into the description, click on the link, check out the video, check out the page. And if it seems like a fit, put in an application, do it now because it's Thursday. This thing kicks off on Monday. I would love to see you in there. And if you're still unsure or you don't see the link, you DM me and I'll make sure that you get it. Send me a DM. Listen, and if this was helpful, leave a comment or share this video out. Because even if you don't move forward, I'm hoping that just changing your mindset shift a little bit gave you something to kind of look at how your sales are right now a little bit different than you did prior to watching this. I hope this was helpful. I hope you're having a kick-ass 2021. And I hope this becomes really a pivotal point for you, your business, and your life. Because, man, this is going to be the biggest opportunity for companies moving forward into 2021. Companies that can really adapt, have a smart sales process, acquire customers, acquire clients, increase revenue in 2021 are going to set themselves up for massive success down the road. While everybody else is trying to figure out this, quote, new normal, it's really your obligation to take your business to the next level now and not wait around. Listen, I'm Brian Cristiano. I appreciate your time. I hope this was helpful. I hope to see it in the program. Go be bold. Go take some action and make it happen. I'll see you soon.